noticed how some people, they just capture your attention? Not by shouting, but just by how they use their words.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly the kind of powerful communication we're getting into today.
Right, this is our deep dive into boosting those skills.
And forget those really stiff public speaking rules you sometimes hear about. We're looking at the real stuff. Practical ways to genuinely connect better.
Whether it's like making friends, feeling more confident in meetings, maybe even inspiring people.
It all comes back to communication, doesn't it?
It really does. We've gone through some really interesting material to help you get past just, well, talking at people and start actually connecting.
And a big takeaway from everything we looked at is that this isn't some magic talent you're either born with or you're not.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, the best communicators, they worked at it. Think about someone you really admire, how they speak. Chances are they put in the effort to get that good.
We tend to think, oh, they're just naturals, right? But if you look closer, it's often hours and hours of, well, practice. And maybe some trial and error, too.
Exactly. And it's not just for big speeches. Our sources really stress how better communication makes everything better. Your relationships, how you get things done.
Even just understanding yourself better, maybe.
For sure. Okay, so let's unpack this first big idea, that communication is way more than just the words themselves.
Right. It's fundamentally about connection, isn't it? Like building that bridge between people.
That's it. Creating a shared understanding, maybe even an emotional link. And the material we dug into really hammers home how much of that happens non-verbally.
It's huge. We saw one stat suggesting, what was it, over 70%?
Yeah, something like that. Over 70% of communication can be non-verbal, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really makes you think about what message you're sending before you even open your mouth. Your posture, your tone.
Even just the little pauses you take. Are you making good eye contact? Does it feel natural?
Or are you, like, staring someone down? That's not great either.
Right. Is your body language open? Or are your arms crossed? Maybe signaling you're closed off without realizing it? Are your hands helping your point? Or just fidgeting?
It's so easy to overlook that stuff. We get caught up in choosing the perfect words.
And forget that our body is already talking.
Exactly. The info we gathered really pushes you to sort of observe yourself. Notice, are your arms crossed? Are you looking away a lot? Does your face match what you're trying to say?
It's like asking yourself, what's the first impression I'm making, non-verbally? It's powerful because it suggests improving might just start with awareness.
Okay, so nonverbals are key. But when we do get to the words, one skill our sources highlight again and again is listening, really listening.
Yeah, and it's not just about, not talking. There's a difference the sources point out between just hearing sounds and truly listening.
What's the difference there?
Well, often we listen just to reply, right?
Yeah.
We're busy thinking up our own response, waiting for a gap.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all do it. But active listening is about trying to fully get where the other person is coming from before you jump in. Understanding their perspective.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Any practical tips from the sources?
Oh, definitely. Things like giving your full attention. Put the phone away, Resisting that urge to interrupt. Using little signals, like nodding to show you're tracking. Maybe even reflecting back what they said, like, so if I understand correctly, you're saying...
Paraphrasing, yeah.
Exactly. And asking good follow-up questions. Questions that show you're actually interested and want to know more, not just move the conversation along.
That makes sense. And the bigger picture here, according to the research...
It builds trust.
Yeah.
Massively. When people feel genuinely heard, that connection deepens. Plus, you actually learn more and can respond much more thoughtfully.
Okay, so body language matters. Listening is crucial. But obviously, we still need to actually speak effectively. And the sources are pretty clear. Like anything, it takes practice.
Yeah, that comparison to physical exercise came up a lot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't just show up for a marathon, right?
Definitely not.
And you can't expect to be a super articulate speaker without putting in some reps.
So how do we practice? Do we need an audience?
Not necessarily, especially at first. The sources suggest lots of daily exercises you can do alone, like talking to yourself in the mirror. Sounds weird, I know.
A little bit, yeah.
But it helps. You get used to your own voice, how you look when you speak.
Yeah.
Or recording yourself, explaining something, maybe just summarizing an article or even this deep dive.
Ooh, meta. I like it.
Right. Listen back. See where you could be clearer. You could summarize stuff out loud, join a speaking club like Toastmasters maybe.
Or just start a voice memo diary on your phone.
Totally. Anything to just get the words flowing regularly. It might feel awkward at first, but that's usually a sign you're learning.
It's like working a muscle, as you said. Needs regular workouts.
Exactly.
Now, something else the sources brought up, this idea that talking fast makes you sound smart. Apparently, that's not quite right.
Yeah, it's a common misconception. The material we looked at actually flips that idea. Slowing down, using pauses deliberately, that can be much more powerful.
Why is that?
Well, for one, it gives your listeners a chance to actually process what you're saying, to let it sink in. They're not scrambling to keep up.
Okay, that makes sense. Keeps them from feeling overwhelmed.
Right. And it helps you too. Pausing gives you a beat to gather your thoughts, figure out what's next.
And avoid the ums and us.
Exactly. Those filler words often creep in when we feel rushed. A good pause can also build a bit of suspense or add emphasis to what you just said.
So it's about getting comfortable with silence then?
Pretty much. Try it out, say something, then just pause for a second or two. See how it feels, how it changes the rhythm. It can make you sound more considered, more confident.
Interesting. And tied to that, I guess, is the kind of words we use. The sources argue against trying too hard to sound smart with big words.
Oh, definitely. Clarity is king. The goal isn't to show off how many syllables you know. It's to connect, to make sure people get what you're saying. Simple language, shorter sentences, everyday words, that's usually the most effective way.
It's like talking to a friend.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the best communicators you know. They probably make complex things sound simple, right?
Yeah, they often do. They don't try to obscure things.
Exactly. It's about being accessible, being understood. That builds trust way more than fancy jargon ever could.
Okay, so be clear. Use pauses. But also, the sources mention adapting who you're talking to.
Super important. What works in one situation might fall totally flat in another. A good communicator is flexible.
So, before speaking, you should think about.
Think. Who is my audience? What's their background? What do they already know? What do they care about? What tone is going to work best here?
Right. Explaining a tech problem to engineers versus explaining it to, say, the marketing team requires a different approach.
Totally different. Or talking to your best friend versus your boss's boss. You adjust. The sources say being mindful of your audience helps you tailor your message so it actually lands.
Makes sense. You got to meet people where they are.
Exactly. That flexibility is key.
Okay, we've got clarity, audience awareness. Now, something that came up again and again was using stories.
Yes. Storytelling. It's incredibly powerful for making communication stick. Our brains are just wired for stories.
More than facts and figures.
Way more. We saw a stat suggesting people remember stories something like 22 times more than just data points.
Wow, 22 times. That's huge.
Isn't it? So instead of just saying, I work hard, tell a quick story about a time you worked hard to solve something.
Or instead of listing skills, tell a story that shows you using them.
Precisely. Stories create emotion, they make things relatable, memorable, they build that connection we talked about earlier.
So adding stories is a great tool. How else can we keep improving? One suggestion was to watch other people who are good at this.
Yeah, learning by observation. The material suggests actively watching people you think communicate well. Could be TED speakers, podcasters, YouTubers.
Or even just someone at work or in your family.
Sure. And don't just watch passively. Really notice what they're doing. How do they use gestures? How does their voice change? Where do they look? How do they use humor or timing?
And then try to copy them.
Well, not exactly copy, but sort of.
Yeah.
Mimic or experiment with those techniques yourself. See what feels right for you. It's about finding your own authentic style by trying things out.
Okay, observation and experimentation. Got it. Now, about vocabulary. The sources said clarity is key, but is there any value in expanding our word bank?
Yes, but with a caveat. Don't just memorize lists of obscure words you'll never use.
Right, no dictionary drills.
No. The advice is more about gradual, natural growth. Read widely, books, articles, whatever interests you. When you see a word or phrase you like, note it down.
And then
try to use it. Maybe aim for one new word or phrase a day or a week in your actual conversations. Let it become part of how you naturally speak.
Like adding seasoning to food.
That's a great analogy used in the sources. Enough to add flavor, but not so much it overpowers everything. Clarity first, always.
Okay, so lots of techniques. But underlying all of this is confidence, right? And that can be the hardest part.
It really can. But the most encouraging thing we found is that confidence isn't fixed. It grows with practice and experience.
So even the super confident speakers probably felt nervous once.
Almost certainly. They just kept doing it.
Yeah.
Speaking up in meetings, giving presentations, just having conversations. Every time you do it, you get a little more comfortable.
It's about repetition then.
Repetition, yes. And listening, getting feedback maybe, it's a whole cycle. If you feel awkward or unsure, that's totally normal. It's part of learning. The key is just to keep going.
Don't let the awkwardness stop you.
Exactly. Confidence is built step by step, word by word.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main takeaways from this deep dive.
All right. Remember, your nonverbal cues matter a lot. Be an active listener. Really focus on understanding. Practice speaking regularly, like exercise.
Slow down, use pauses, don't be afraid of silence. Aim for clarity, not complexity. Know your audience and adapt.
Yes. Use stories to make your message memorable. Watch and learn from other good communicators. Build your vocabulary gradually and naturally.
And finally, remember that confidence comes from doing it again and again.
That sums it up pretty well.
And it's worth the effort, right? The sources are clear. Good communication opens doors everywhere. Career, relationships, leadership.
Absolutely. It's a pathway.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, you can always improve.
Yeah.
Every day, every conversation is a chance to get a little better.
So, a final thought to leave everyone with.
Just that your voice matters.
Yeah.
Your ideas, your perspective, they're valuable. Don't let that fear or self-doubt keep you quiet. Think of communication as this lifelong journey of getting better at connecting. Keep practicing, keep growing. You've got this.